Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my episode 7 video, The Gift. Just like, all the other episodes this season, that title is a metaphor for several different things on the show, as well as a literal thing. Lots of giving and receiving of very unexpected, amazing gifts. So careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. And new round of the giveaway starts now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Just starting with top 7 WTF moments. Number 7, Maester Aemon Duncan Egg shout out. Maester Aemon, in his fever dream, as he lay there dying, starts calling out to his brother, Aegon Targaryen V. That's Egg from the Duncan Egg series. Just one of the many spin-off series that they could totally do. I feel like a Duncan Egg spin-off series would be really awesome. They can even reuse that map that they use for the opening title sequences, because all the places are still the same. Duncan Egg as a series mostly covers the time when Egg is growing up. I did a video for Aemon Targaryen, mostly deals with Aegon as an adult, after he ascended the throne. Two very different points in time. Egg grew up in the time after the first Blackfire Rebellion. The other really cool thing about Egg is that he is Daenerys' great-grandfather. His son was Jaehaerys, his son was Aerys II, and then obviously he had Daenerys. On to number 6, Sansa asks Theon for help. I feel like anybody hoping things had gotten better for Sansa in this episode were sorely disappointed. She has bruises all over her. Clearly, like what happened with her last week has been happening with her every single night since then. I can hear the outrage just pouring from the internet. She is basically getting the fake Arya storyline from the book, like the Jane Poole storyline. So I'm just expecting it to play out like that does in the books. One of the problems with Game of Thrones as a show is that they do everything so far in advance. So if there's something that just, everyone absolutely hates, if they're going to address it, they have to wait till the next season to do that. So like if everyone really hates what they've done with Sansa's character and how they kind of put her down so that they can put this Ramsay storyline to the forefront, like it's more of a Ramsay storyline than a Sansa storyline, they can't address that till season 6. So whatever ends up happening to Sansa this season, it is set in stone. Given that Reek betrays her for Ramsay, I think the hope now is that she'll take her fate into her own hands. Like she'll do something crazy to try and get rid of Ramsay. Just the moment when Ramsay casually showed her servant woman who had been flayed and hung up. It was just so horrifying and so casual too. Like it's no big deal. I think he did that a little bit because Sansa pissed him off with all the bastard talk. I've been naturalized by royal decree. Well, yeah, you got naturalized by another bastard. Sansa isn't wrong, and I think that Ramsay now is probably going to try and do something about that baby inside Fat Walda. There's a lot of people that feel like Ramsay might be like the new Joffrey of the series. We'll see if it doesn't end up playing out the exact same way. I mean, I hope not. That'd be kind of predictable. The only real bright, shining moment in all this is that Sansa now knows that Jon Snow is doing just fine. He's Lord Commander. She seemed really surprised when Ramsay mentioned him. I don't think she's forgotten about him. I think just so much crap has happened to her that she hasn't had time to think about him. She's mostly spending her time trying to not get murdered. On to number 5. Stannis' army is starting to fall apart. I like the shout out for the Stormcrows, and winter is coming. It's just not a Stark saying, it is literally coming. Seriously, like look how hard the snow is blowing up at Winterfell just in those normal scenes during the middle of the day. In the context of the series, it kind of already is early winter, but when they say, winter is coming, like in the real final sense, that means it's snowing in King's Landing. So, I mean, we're still a ways away from that. The real WTF here, though, is that Melisandre suggests that they sacrifice Shireen. And nice dad that he is, Stannis isn't hearing any of it. They've really been positioning him as like the nice guy this season. He hugs his daughters, he compliments people like Samwell, he's doing all kinds of stuff that you would have never thought when you first saw him. Season 2 was a real big Stannis arc, and he kind of seemed like an asshole during that season. Ramsay isn't wrong though, Stannis just is not used to fighting in heavy snow. In Ramsay's family, the Boltons, they're totally used to it. So they have the advantage, even though Stannis has way more men. I know he said that they lost 500 men, they lost the Stormcrows, but they still have a huge army. On to number 4, the continuing saga of Samwell and Gilly. Samwell is like the Millhouse of the series, so whenever he stood up to those other brothers that were trying to rape Gilly, I just thought everything is coming up Millhouse. And Ghost helped out a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he probably wouldn't have been able to do that without Ghost. But still, this was like a badass Samwell moment, or the closest you get to it, like the moment when he killed the White Walker. Gilly tells Sam to always take care of little Samwell no matter what. That's her baby. You could make as many taking care of little Sam jokes as you want, with the sex scene that they had. But isn't it funny how they reverse the roles in this? Typically, the things that Gilly did would be something done by a male on screen. But Samwell in this scene was kind of like the really soft female character. I just like the way Game of Thrones plays with gender roles. Like, say, Brienne and Jaime had a scene like that, she would probably be the man and he would probably be the woman. We can let Tumblr pick that up and run with it. But I think Sam and Gilly's relationship is one of the most genuine ones on the show, one of the most believable ones. I usually don't get really excited about stuff like that, but like Jaime and Brienne, they have one of the most compelling relationships too, but you get the sense that they're never going to end up together. It's going to be a really tragic relationship. Samuel and Gilly, on the other hand, feels like something that might end up sticking. But on to number 3. The Queen of Thorns and Littlefinger conspire to get rid of Cersei. Every scene on this show is made better by the presence of the Queen of Thorns. She's like the MVP of this episode. She just isn't having any bullshit from anyone this week. How surprised are you that she admitted that they killed Joffrey together? We all knew it, but it's still a surprise to hear her say it out loud just because there are so many ears listening in King's Landing. I guess there aren't a lot of people floating around Littlefinger's flesh market nowadays since it's been trashed, but still she's taking a big risk being so open. I just love how honest they are with each other. Even though Littlefinger speaks in riddles, I have a gift for you, the same gift I gave to Cersei, a beautiful young man. Obviously he was talking about Lancel, but just the way that they're so open with each other. We both have very incriminating evidence on each other, and we have a common enemy, so why don't we work together? Really, the most dangerous threat that she has is to just cut the grain off from King's Landing and try and starve him out. But the High Sparrow answered that, just by saying, "We are the many. We'll do whatever it takes to get rid of the few." Meaning that all he would need to do was just march all the peasants on Highgarden and take the grain. So there's a lot of big threats flying around, and most of them end up being empty. Really, it seems like the High Sparrow is now the most powerful person in King's Landing. On to number 2, Daenerys and Tyrion meet for the first time. This is so much fun. Even watching Tyrion in the slave market sell himself, he kind of got like the reverse Joffrey slap when he suggested that they pay him a wage as a freedman. My, how the tables have turned. The look of hope, though, on Jorah's face the minute he heard the word queen, it's so fun to just see him just kick everyone's ass in the stadium. The sequence of events was a little predictable, but I really did love that big jailer helping Tyrion out. Like he was like, "Okay, fine, here you go, buddy. I'm gonna show you some mercy." As crazy as it is in Slaver's Bay right now, I think they still want you to think of Daenerys as a good character. They want to associate that storyline with the idea of mercy. So I think we'll continue to see people being charitable to one another, with a few exceptions, like the people that they actually want you to think of as villains. The same thing's happening with Stannis right now. He'd never hear of you sacrificing his daughter. The WTF look, though, on Daenerys' face was so much fun. Like she's a deer caught in the headlights. She's like, "I don't know what to do with this information now. Tyrion Lannister, what's this all about?" The idea is that Tyrion is going to help her with her people problem in Meereen. He's a great source of wisdom. Varys isn't there, but hopefully he'll show up eventually, and they'll have a real small council for Daenerys. A group of people that can give her the advice she needs. Daario is someone who's really honest with her, but he isn't necessarily the smartest person for managing a city. Daenerys isn't just in the middle of a war right now. He's great at making war, great at infiltration, small special ops. But he's no ruler, so, taking his advice, his reverse red wedding idea could lead to some really bad repercussions. Who else felt like they heard the Rains of Castamere playing softly in the background when he suggested that she round up all the heads of the houses in Meereen and kill them? Daario might still do something, a little bit crazy. He sounds a little bit jealous at the thought of her marrying Hizdahr. He's jealous in the books, but, I think the show is doing something just a little bit different with his character. But we finally have Tyrion with Daenerys. That's a huge freaking deal. I feel like it'll play out pretty good. It's not going to take some dramatic left turn. But finally, my number 1 WTF moment. So I kind of split this between the Sand Snakes and Bronn with Cersei versus the High Sparrow. So I'll talk about Sand Snakes first. Never before has everyone held their breath so much as when Bronn was sitting in that cell singing loudly and Tyene Sand asked him how he was feeling. She has the same knowledge of poisons as her father, Oberyn Martell. Obviously, he coated the shit out of his blade whenever he was fighting the Mountain. He got dosed with way more poison, but, remember, he's 3 times the size of Bronn. So even just a little bit would have killed him almost instantly. And that kind of is what happens. I mean, they weren't really clear on the timeline, how long this moment happens after he got nicked with the blade, but it seems like it's relatively quickly. I feel like they should put that song on the soundtrack, though. I've tasted the Dornishman's wife. I will say that the mechanism by which he got the antidote was a little contrived. I'm not really sure where they're taking the Sand Snakes this season, but Tyene, just taking all her clothes off to tease Bronn. There might be something going on there later this season. He takes the antidote, so he's totally sticking around. But while that was happening, my eyes, floated to the background, and you could see Obara and Nymeria just rolling their eyes into the back of their heads. Given where their arc is right now, I don't see a whole lot more fighting going on inside Dorne. The real question is what is Prince Doran going to do with Jaime? Because Jaime doesn't want Myrcella to stay, and Prince Doran doesn't sound like he's too hot on the idea of Tristan marrying Myrcella. Really, we'll have to see how this is affected by what's going on with Cersei in King's Landing, because that'll probably influence what Prince Doran decides to do. And finally, Cersei versus High Sparrow. So this was, one of the big moments as a book reader I was waiting for. I was so happy when it finally went down. Cersei's one of the most smug characters in the books, and she's been an asshole all season long. So watching the High Sparrow just choke the hope out of her was so much fun. She was defiant to the last, but the moment her eyes started darting across the room looking for, whatever he was talking about till Lancel walked out, that was so great. Sometimes some of the best performances on the show are ones that don't involve words, just people using facial expressions to convey really strong emotions. So much is going on Cersei's face right now, so many things going through her head. I'm going to go out on a limb and say she's probably not going to find the same mercy from the mother that Loras and Marjorie might find. It's going to be such a fun twist on the trial that Tyrion got last season. Well, we'll see if it plays out the same way. There's so much going on right now. There's so much stuff that's teeing up the last couple of episodes. Here's my big question. What do you think is going to happen when Cersei goes on trial? And do you think that Jon is going to end up using that dragon glass dagger that Samwell gave him? It's been all season. We haven't seen a single White Walker. I feel like if we're going to, it's going to happen up at Hardhome. I feel like that dragon glass dagger is going to be used. So I'll say just in general, like the weakest storyline this week was Sansa's, just because it did nothing to address what's going on with her. Like it seems like a dead end at this point. Unless she does something to save herself, she's going to be like the damsel in distress again for another season. The hope was that this year she would take a darker turn and would start taking care of herself. We still have 3 episodes for her to do that, so there is a chance that she could turn around. Strongest storyline this week, obviously the High Sparrow. He is on a roll in King's Landing, but the MVP of the episode was the Queen of Thorns. She's not nearly as big a presence in the books, but Diana Rigg is just so amazing with all these other characters. Like her scenes with the High Sparrow, that was so much fun. I just hope that they get a couple more this season. So just a quick reminder, I'm going to do a Q&A tomorrow, so ask all your questions. There's so much that we have to talk about from this week. I will announce the winner of the giveaway in that video. If you have any requests for next week's bonus video, just let me know in the comments. So while you guys wait for the Q&A, you can click here to learn all about Maester Aemon's history, and you can click here for last week's episode. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.